can bring in some toxic type feelings into a legitimate conversation, right? Because the conversation is, hey, this is our home, this is our priority, this is what we invest in. Yeah, we still love our family, we still like invest in them as well, but this is our main investment, this is our main priority.
All right, so welcome everybody to this episode of Couples Connect. We have some special guests with us today. I want to welcome you to Michelita and Frankie. Let's give it up for them. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. So good. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Excited to join you guys.
Thank you so much for being on this episode. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I'll go first.
Sure. So I'm Frankie, 44 years old, about to be 45 this year. And yeah, I just went there, right? 45.
Birthday. Happy birthday coming up.
Father of a soon-to-be 2-year-old.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's awesome. The little boy's interesting. It's good. Keeps us on our toes.
I bet.
And yeah, as far as my profession, I'm into digital marketing. We live in New Jersey. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, so pretty much from the area. And yeah, had an encounter with God back in '98. Been serving him since. A part of Hillsong Church here in New Jersey. It's been wonderful. And yeah, I'll pass it on to my wife.
Hi. Great. I am Michelle. And well, we're doing ages. I'm 30 years old. Hey, just turned 30. I am a wife, a mom. I'm also a volleyball coach for high school kids. That's my exciting, yay, I do that on the side. But I'm mom and wife all the days of my life, all other times.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
And that's about it.
Gotcha. So you guys have an almost 2-year-old. Tell us how that's been.
It's been amazing. Yeah, I think it's been a super big blessing being home with him since day one. I mean, tonight he's not with us because he's with my mom, but besides that, we are together all the time. Sometimes it's very exhausting, but it's so rewarding. And now, because of this whole pandemic and COVID quarantine, having had Frankie at home since March has been a dream too. Joash has both of his parents at home. So it's been fun just even seeing him kind of children are different, right? With mom and dad. So it's it's been interesting kind of seeing him trying to navigate through that and still just being himself and just growing into his own little person, which it's just mind-blowing how he can have so much of both of us but be his own person. So yeah, that's how it's been for me. It's just been awesome. It's been a really awesome ride.
Yeah, I definitely think he's used to getting away with more stuff with her. So whenever it's almost like sometimes he'll do stuff and he'll peek just to see how am I in eyesight or anything like that, just to double check, can he get away with it or what. So yeah.
They're funny. Super smart. They're way smarter than we sometimes give them credit for.
Yeah. Someone once told me that they are actual little people. We think of them as just babies and kids, but no, they're little people, little human beings who have thought processes and everything. So it's cool to see them develop.
Definitely.
So how did you guys meet?
You want to tell him?
No, you go.
Yeah.
So we met, how long ago? 10 years ago?
I think it's about 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago. Yeah, we met. I was actually working. I used to sell cars. It was 10 years ago.
About it'll be 10 years in September.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was selling cars at the time, and my sister had invited me to like a Bible study that they would have at her church. And so I got off of work a little later than what I expected to, so I thought I was late. So I was like rushing to get there, and when I pull up and I go up the stairs, I see Michelle sitting down. I had never met her before, and she was sitting down reading a book, and she saw me kind of like run by her, and I said, "Hey," she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm running in because I'm late." And she was like, "No, actually, you're not late. You're an hour early."
So,
I know what time she told me, like, I'm late. And she's like, "No." And of course, I didn't listen to her. So I go try to pull on the door. The door's locked. She's like, "I told you you're early, an hour early." I was like, "So why are you here an hour early?" And then she's like, "Oh, I got a ride from my mom, or else I would have had to walk. So I early." And we both say that there was nothing that really, like, we didn't see stars when we saw each other.
Nothing.
I think
it's like absolutely nothing. No,
it's always the story. Every time I hear stories from other people, it's like the women try to underplay how captivated they were at the moment.
I really was not. Because
Is that what is happening now?
No.
You said look. Frankie was like, "Why you so here early? I'm here for you." No.
Now I laugh about that too, because in our lives, like me with my situation, I had never been married before or anything like that. So I was already 34. Yeah, I was going to be 35. So technically I felt like I was late in life, like regarding that area of my life. And then she was of the frame of mind that I'm not getting married till I'm like 35. So to her, it was like early, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
how that worked out. But I say the cheesy line, we ended up being right on time, right, for each other. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean, that's
I was definitely impressed that I saw her reading a book. That was the main thing that caught my attention, was like she's young, reading a book. I don't see that too often. So that kind of intrigued me. But other than that, there was really nothing beyond that. And then we just ended up becoming friends. And then she was good friends with my sister. So we hung out a couple of times, and we got to hang out more, like, I guess, become more intimate as friends. Yeah. Like, it got to a point where really quick, we did kind of like, kiss or whatever. So
kiss, not and whatever.
You kiss. Yeah. But yeah. So at that point, I felt like there was some interest, but then she was like, "Nah, it was just a kiss. That's it. It's over." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So we stood as friends for a while. My interest grew a lot quicker than hers. I was just at a stage in life where I kind of knew what I wanted, so I wasn't like wasting time. I wasn't just gonna date someone just to date someone. And at the time, she was actually interested in other people. So yeah.
That is right. Other people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had to suffer through 3 boyfriends. 3 boyfriends.
So what happened? What happened to make him the one?
Yeah.
God, that's all. I'm not kidding. I mean, that's like cliche, whatever, but it literally just was God. We were like the night that I knew, just like, oh my gosh. I was in a relationship with someone else, and we were hanging out. Like at that point, we were like, he was like my best friend. And we were out for dinner or whatever. Maybe not dinner. We were just out, whatever. And
we were foodies, so we used to always go to like diners.
Yeah.
So we were at a diner.
And I was just like talking to him about like my current boyfriend at the time, and like I was like not like like torn, right? Like I want to break up with this guy, but blah blah blah, whatever. And Frankie's sitting right across from me, and he says, "So and so will never love you the way I love you." And I literally
Whoa.
seat and was like, "Oh my god!"
Slick.
That's
We dropped the mic.
Wow.
Okay.
At that point, I had already expressed that I was very interested in her.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I saw that she wasn't reciprocating that. I had like kind of like an epiphany where it was like, hey, I'm either gonna just be her friend and be okay with being her friend. That's all I'm gonna get from her,
Right.
or I'm just gonna move on, you know. And yeah, I remember I had a conversation with my dad, and he legit, that was his advice to me, is like, you need to just be her friend and be okay if it never becomes more than that.
Yeah.
That'll test how genuine you are about being
Yeah.
her. So at that point, I had already expressed to her that, you know, I felt that I loved her. So
no, but it was that night. I don't know. The
But
way
that
he
night,
said it, I swear.
I just repeated it. I just said, I was like, it is what it is. But I was like,
Frankie saw that opening.
yeah.
He was like, this is it. This is the moment right here.
I think it was something like, you could keep looking, but
No, I don't remember anything. All I remember was so and so will never love you the way I love you.
And that's when,
wow.
with the fireworks and everything you saw, like,
you know,
No,
it was one of
I
those
like-
moments where it was like facts.
I legit like melted into my seat. I'm not kidding. Like he's on the other side,
Wow.
melted like into my
Wow.
seat.
Under the
Dramatic,
table.
but it was
Yeah.
so real.
Frankie,
That
man,
night-
you need to teach a class, bro, for all the guys in the friend
I
zone.
never got that response like that. I was like, wow, you legit went under the table. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. I
First
just
of all,
knew.
the patience, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the patience alone. Yep.
yeah, he went through a lot of patience.
So you
I mean,
think,
yeah.
do you think the advice from your dad kind of helped you stick it out, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that was one of the few times I had like a real heart to heart with my dad. And he kind of guided me in that. I don't know. He sounded really wise when he was giving advice. Like he convinced me, like, because, and then the thing is that my dad is 10 years older than, well, he's passed away, but he was 10 years older than Madeline, right? 10, something like that.
I think it was like ours.
Almost 15 years older than his wife. So it was like, I don't know, it was just weird to me how I'm all of a sudden disinterested in someone who's 15 years younger than me. And then like just hearing how he ended up going through what he went through with his current wife, right? And just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it other than he really impressed me with the advice that he gave me. And it ultimately was like, you need to sacrifice what you want. And if you're going to be her friend, you got to really be her friend.
Yeah.
Like you can't be her friend because I think she's going to start digging me afterward. Like you got to legit be happy for her if she's with someone else. That's what blew my mind, because I was like, wait, what?
Mhm.
And he was like, yeah, you legit got to be happy for her if she finds someone that's going to take care of her like that. And,
Right.
and that was a big commitment. And yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
when you were at the table, you was like, wait a minute, that someone is me.
Well,
Let
yeah,
me-
I was like,
I got it now. Thanks, Dad. That someone is me.
they try to tell her I'm that guy, but no. No, but I legit got there to a point where I was like, if someone's gonna love her legit, like, and take care of her, I'm gonna be happy for her. And that was hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And isn't that a part of the definition of love, right? You really loved her. You wanted her to be good. You wanted her to be happy. And you were like really loving her in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that it worked out.
Yes.
Because you guys are amazing. So thank you for melting in your seat and
dropping that mic.
dropping all the fireworks, all that good stuff. So because there is a age gap between you two, right? And sometimes the people at certain stages of their life, they have certain expectations of what a relationship should look like. Did you guys have any moments where there was a struggle in that area, or you clashed at all, or?
Dating or in the marriage?
Well, I'm sure dating, you probably both showed all your good sides. Like y'all wanted to win each other over.
Well, dating was very, I'd say, unique with us because we had been friends for so long that by the time
we weren't even friends for that long. Now that we think about it, it was just our relationship was so like solid. Yeah.
4 years.
No, it was going to be 10 years in September.
So 3 years.
I got married at 23.
Almost 4 years. Right?
No, I met you when I
3.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So let's break it down.
The point is that by the time we became boyfriend and girlfriend, it was almost like we know what we're gonna become boyfriend and girlfriend for is to get married. Like that was already a given. It was just all the particulars that had to happen with the ring and just like you know, our families kind of meshing a little more, things like that. But we legit spoke about marriage as we became boyfriend and girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we just didn't. It wasn't like, oh my God, I have to like do my hair every day. I think Frankie needs to, no.
Like, oh, that's just Frankie. Oh, that's Michelle.
As a friend, I saw her at her worst.
Yeah.
She's not trying to impress me at all.
Right.
Yeah. She was.
That seems like, you know, that was positioned by God too, you know, so that you guys could just be comfortable with who you guys really are, you know. So you didn't have to go through that smoke and mirror stage. You know what I mean? You just kind of just really invest in each other, that's cool. That's cool. So when you guys got married, well, did you like propose? Like, did you do like a whole proposal thing, or you guys just knew?
He was like, come on.
Like, hit a ring, let's go.
I've been waiting for 3.5 years.
I proposed, but the delay was really funds for the ring. That was the delay.
I got you.
Yeah. So and then when I finally got the ring, was when like I did the official proposal. So I took her back to the steps where we first met.
Or you tried to. You took me back to the church.
Yeah, I did. I said that I had to pick my sister up, but I didn't. It was nobody.
There was nobody there. I'm in the car like, what the heck are we doing here? Stop the car. He's like, yeah, I gotta go see if Esther's there. No one's there, obviously. It's a pitch black church, like no one in the parking lot. He walks out. He literally walks out the car, walks to wherever the heck he walks to.
Because I was nervous. Yeah.
And then he like comes up. He opens the door and he gets down on his knee. Yeah. Don't know what. Don't remember anything. Yeah. but
right.
I don't remember what I said either.
You should have reenacted and been like, I'm an hour early. What are you doing here?
Give her the book.
Right. Michelle would be like, I don't get it. What are you talking about? Get up. What are you? Amazing. So after you guys got married, did anything change, like from your friendship and then dating and then being married? It's like everything. No. So how did that look?
Oh man. Well, there were a lot of things that I wasn't trying to change. And that was very hurtful in our marriage. I was with my parents for not obviously, but for all my life.
She's the baby of
I'm the baby.
9 kids.
I'm the baby of 9 children. Yeah. And I was the last one at home. So I was at home with my parents, just like me and my parents from 9th grade. Like entering high school until I got married. So like our relationship was pretty solid. Like I don't, to this day, I don't have like a toxic relationship with my parents. Thankfully, it's very healthy, or what I call healthy, but not healthy, I guess, because I need to learn boundaries. Right? It's like whatever, however you want to call it. Yeah. But I took that into my marriage where we lived, at the time we had lived like 7 minutes away from my parents. We were in Elizabeth and they were in Newark, but it was like really close. And I spent a lot of time in my parents' house. Yeah, that was that's not okay for our marriage. Like if I didn't
enjoy that though.
No, my dad loved it. But that was the issue where it was like I was taking a lot of like advice, right, from my parents. Or again, I just wasn't setting boundaries as far as like even like if something was going wrong with us, like, guess where I'm going? I'm going to mommy and papa's house. You know, and like yeah, that was not okay for like the first like year and a half. Yeah.
So you know how like I'm sorry, go ahead.
What changed to to have you, I guess, have that revelation that like, this is not working. I need to make some type of adjustment. What was that moment for you?
Was it argument?
You dropped the mic again?
Nice arguments, but that's exactly what I was gonna say. You know how like you ever hear like mob stories where they talk about sit downs? We ended up having a sit down. Like I realized like we need to get on the same page with this, because that's when I started like having these revelations that I thought we were on the same page, but we really weren't. So yeah, it took for us to sit down and talk about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in this marriage, like almost to the point where we had to discuss like time limits.
Yeah.
Like hey, all right, if you're gonna go over there and visit, it can't be every single day, and it can't be for 5 hours. Right? So it's like we're gonna say like, hey, let's try to limit this to like twice a week, right? And when you go, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then, you know, we can head on back, or you can head on back, or whatever the case may be. So we started that way where, and she was like the one managing this. Like sometimes, yeah, we'll take a phone call, right?
Like, oh, I gotta go now. Frankie's calling me.
Yeah, but the whole point was it took a conversation that went even deeper than that, because it was like, hey, like, and
that's not your home.
yeah, I don't know. And it sometimes it's crazy because it can tap into our insecurities, right? Because that definitely tapped into my insecurity of like never feeling number one in someone's life, right? So now that can bring in some toxic type feelings into a legitimate conversation, right? Because the conversation is, hey, this is our home, this is our priority, this is what we invest in. Yeah, we still love our family, we still like invest in them as well, but this is our main investment, this is our main priority. When anything goes wrong, this is the first place that we put our focus on. You know what I mean? And while that's a very valid conversation, the toxicity of my insecurities can kind of sway the conversation in the wrong direction. It legitimately got to that one question, like, hey, like if you're in trouble, who's the first person you're gonna call? And her instinct wanted to say, Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where it was like, hey, that has to change.
Yeah.
Like I need to be the first person you call. You know, and not for any other reason than like I need to be there for you, and vice versa. You know, like if something is going on with me, the first person I need to contact is you. You know, we need to have that understanding. And then from there, it's like everything starts building on that. Like, hey, we're our number one source of help other than God, of course, you know, because that's another key factor, is that our belief in God has been the glue that kept us together throughout, you know. But yeah, it's an understanding where she had to realize, wow, I really would want to call my dad. And I think she started to consider that and understand that maybe I need to change that. And it took work. It took, you know, how long do you think before you were able to like really say, we're on the same page?
I think like our first 2 years where it was like, it was pretty tough. But after that, I think it's been pretty good.
Yeah, like I even remember one of our worst arguments, and it was in that time frame, like about a year and a half. One of our worst arguments, her response was, I'm going to my mom's. And I said, no, like how, it doesn't matter how angry we are at each other. It doesn't matter. Like we're both staying in the same house. You could be in the living room if you want. I'll be in the living room. You be in the bedroom, but we're not going anywhere else. Like this is where we live. This is our home. We got to figure it out. Type of thing.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Frankie. So you said that you realized that there were some insecurities that you had to be careful that didn't come into the conversation. How did you, I guess, do that personal development to know that there was something else underlining that could have possibly made this bigger, you know?
to be like very, very honest, and it might be like totally left field, but it was in my time of incarceration. So I had a pretty lengthy incarceration where I did a lot of reading, I did a lot of workshops, I did a lot of programs, and the fact that I had the quote unquote luxury of time to actually think and really get into um, deep crevices of my heart and of my past and everything like that, that I think that really set me up for success upon finally having, the privilege of marrying Michelle.
Yeah.
That put me in a place where I had already thought these thoughts. So when I was able to identify it, it was pretty quick. I didn't have to go through all of the work that, was done years ago. I just had to remember, oh snap, that's what's trying to creep into this right now, is that, you know what I mean? So I was able to identify it quickly and then just try to guard our marriage from it as much as possible. It would still leak, every now and then, but definitely it was nowhere near as toxic as it could have been.
Yeah. And I think too, the moment you realize that, hey, we need to have a conversation about this was really important, because when you talk about like responsibilities, like as couples, we are responsible for each other. You know what I mean? And sometimes we can get caught up with other people who used to be responsible for us in that way. But once you become one, like, you're responsible for each other. And, Frankie, you were like, well, hey, something's off here. We need to talk. We need to be on the same page and communicate. You know what I mean? So after that, like, I don't know how many conversations you guys had, but at what point, Michelle, did you say, you know what, I do need to be more responsible for my husband and depending on him staying at home, all of those types of things?
I don't know. I feel like it just, I don't know, it kind of just came. I don't know. Knowing that there was no way out of this. There, but you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't our end. Like, our end plan was never like, all right, we can't figure it out, then we got to get a divorce. Like, that was never the plan. So yeah, I guess like just like once finally realizing like, yeah, no, like, he's it, that's it. Not going through this again with anyone else. But I don't know when exactly like the light bulb went on. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I think you guys said some key things in that, because we've been married. How long have you guys been married? 10 years?
No. 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been married 13. So I think you said some key things about like knowing that there's no out. Like, you're in this forever. And so like, let's work it out.
It sound like that.
I mean,
you're in this forever. There is no way out.
But
it is.
Yeah.
No way out.
Right. Yeah. Dead or alive? No, just kidding.
So I think that is a key thing that I hope that the couples watching will take mental note of. And then also, it's important to know yourself, right? To like know the things that you struggle with, or know like the insecurities, or to know what you may be bringing, into the marriage, so that doesn't like overcrowd anything, or like you said, seep in. I like that word, because I think a lot of people don't recognize that things like that kind of seep in. And so I think I have a question, I guess to both of you, but more so to Frankie. What kind of measures did you put up to actually guard that space, like to guard it from coming in?
Prayer, reading the Bible, and my relationship with God. If it wasn't for my relationship with God and the accountability that I feel to Him and to the Holy Spirit, who sees everything I think, sees everything I say, all of my intention, my agenda, right? What no one else sees, the Holy Spirit sees, and God sees that. So like, my strong sense of accountability to him is what has me, like, I have no choice but to be real with myself. Like, why are you really saying that? Like, why are you really feeling that? Like, what's going on? Is it like that she really did something wrong? Or are you like projecting? Are you like, all types of stuff, right? And it's never like 100% where I'm like this perfect, I don't pretend, and I know that's not the case, that, oh, I really hit it a home run this time and I was perfect and I said all the right things, I thought all the right things, I felt all the right things. So like, I get that, but really it's my accountability to God that always has me checking myself, checking my motive, checking my agenda. Like I learned early on that it's not just the words that I say, it's the thoughts that I have. Like, just because I didn't say something doesn't mean I didn't do anything wrong. Like, if I thought it, I need to check myself.
Yeah.
That goes all the way from, whether it be adulterous thoughts, infidelity, like anything. Just because I'm not going around having a extramarital affair in the physical doesn't take me off the hook for having someone else in my mind and in my thoughts. Mm-hmm. Like, it goes that deep. When you guard yourself, you have to guard your thoughts. You got to guard your heart. It's not just your behaviors. It's not just your behavior. It goes deeper than your behaviors.
Yeah. And I would even say that it starts in the mind. It starts in your thoughts and what's in your heart. And when you let that take control, then that exudes out into actual actions, into those places. So, I mean, as a covering, do you feel like you have a responsibility to like daily checking yourself, or how important do you feel like that is to the foundation of your marriage?
I would say daily. I mean, it's not always perfect, but yeah, daily, because the longer you go without the check-in, the more room you give for something to creep up in there and start trying to take root. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to ask Michelita a question. What has been, I guess, the most surprising thing about marriage that maybe you weren't necessarily prepared for, other than, not having two homes?
Mm-hmm.
But within the, actual marriage, what has been, I guess, the most challenging or unexpected challenge that you've encountered?
Wow. I would say definitely early on, thinking about it like right now, probably the finances. It took me a while. I'm the one that came into this marriage with all the problems, apparently. That's not good. No,
that's not true.
I know, but yeah, I think it was like the financial part of, like, again, like, we're one, just because, like, how I mentioned, right, like I was like the only kid at home, so I kind of, like, not got whatever, because I'm not spoiled. You probably have a different opinion on that, but
you're not really spoiled.
Yeah, like, my parents, taught me well as far as, like, X, Y, and Z, whatever. But, like, once I started working, like, it was just like I didn't have to pay bills at home. I think I only probably had to pay my phone bill. So, like, I had, like, all this money to myself, whatever. Like, I never had to, like, give my parents anything. And I can, like, spend whatever, whenever, however I wanted. But now married, I can't do that, right? Like, I couldn't just go to Forever 21 because I wanted to buy a dress today. Like, no, I actually need to ask my husband, and not ask, you know what I mean? Like, just like, hey, like, is it okay or whatever? So that was, I would definitely say that was, now, like, really, yeah, that was definitely one of the hardest things. And even, like at one point, like, Frankie was like, oh, like, we need to put our bank accounts together. And I was like, no. Like, what do you oh. And, like, that was so hard for me, but it was just because of that, like, for so long, like, it was just me. and like I don't have anyone checking my account, and like, oh, you know, not that he would ask like, oh, what did you get, or like, why did you spend this money or whatever, but I guess like in my mind just thinking like yo, you're gonna ask me, like you're actually like checking to see like what I spend X, Y, and Z on, like no. So yeah, that for me was definitely the hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many couples deal with that same thing. Very actually early on in the marriage, because it's like a culture shock or a wake up call that now we got to put stuff together. So
yeah. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Kevin Leman, and he wrote the book Birth Order.
No.
A lot of books, but he wrote the book Birth Order, and he talks about like last born, only child, firstborn, middle child, and how like you've developed certain things because of where you were and the responsibilities you had. And so I was an only child. So I would not say that I'm spoiled. Not it, we didn't have a lot of, a whole lot of stuff. Well, but no. Not spoiled.
As the two was talking, I had to look at his expression to get the little down.
It's not spoiled. It's a little self-centered, but it's not. Not spoiled.
I'm joking. You know what it is? I think with the book that she read, I think we might be the anomalies, because I'm the youngest. I'm the baby, just like Michelle. But I save more than, like, I can hold on to $1, right? But every other day we can get like a package.
I budget, though.
We can get a package from Amazon. I'm like, are we on a first name basis with Amazon?
Are we gonna go get this package that he just got in the mail yesterday?
One package. Package, but
no, we can. The book, it's pretty interesting, I think, because it just really shows that, the way that you were raised and the things that you've experienced really impact the person that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it also impacts how you show up in your relationships. And it has just a lot of good pointers to identify something.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though, because like if you think about it, if somebody is a firstborn, they're normally the ones who is thrown into responsibility a lot faster than the other kids that come after. So they know how to like take care of their brothers and sisters. They know how to budget money a little bit better, and
they get in trouble when their brothers and sisters don't do certain things.
Right.
So they like develop that responsible, more structured.
Mm-hmm. And those types of behaviors transfer on into life and into marriage and how you treat people. And so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because Frankie's a firstborn. He's got 3 little sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel that where like sometimes, and I tell him, where it's like sometimes he's talking to me like I'm like his kid or whatever, and it's because of that. Yeah, that I'm like, bro, like,
like, I'm a grown woman now.
No, I'm your wife. I'm not your child, and I'm not your sister. And like sometimes he doesn't do it often anymore, thankfully. But like there was a point that like he would just like, or like I would at least feel like he's talking down at me, and it's like it's because he's the older brother and he talks like that to his sisters, and it's like. It's not okay, but it's also like super not okay if you're doing it to your wife.
Yeah.
So funny because
but also peep the intricacies of the baggage, because now here it is. I'm the oldest. She's the baby. Yeah. So the language and the tone is very familiar from an older sibling picking on you or trying to take advantage of you. Yeah. So like on both sides, there's these like intricacies that can complicate a situation. You know?
Right. How does that affect when you guys, I guess, assign, certain roles or responsibilities to each other, like taking care of the house or the finances or how to raise a child? Like, how does that affect those areas?
I don't know.
Or does it at all? Or...
Our communication has come a long way and goes a long way in that area. Yeah. So when it comes to stuff like that, we usually talk about it and we try to divvy it up by, hey, what do you enjoy? What do you not enjoy? And we start that in that way.
And even by the time like that we had Joash, like we had been in we had already been like a really good groove of our relationship and like our growth with each other, and like by the time that we had Joash, like Joash was not planned, but planned. You know what I mean? And like at that point, like we had grown so much already spiritually in church. Like we had this amazing community of people around us that we were actually like wanting to learn so much from. So we were at a place already that we were, again, like I said, we were already like in a really good rhythm. So like when we found out that we were pregnant and like that we were gonna have Joash and stuff, like our conversations even were just like, hey, like it's here, right? Like we're not, like, yeah, people want to say things to you and awesome. We're not gonna just be like, oh, don't want to hear it. Sometimes we did, but most of the times, like it was just like, yeah, okay, thank you. But it was just because like we knew like this is our time now to like raise a child the way that we believe God wants us to raise this child. Not bringing like all this negativity or the toxicness that we saw like in our families, because we both come from like very dysfunctional like families, I want to say. So yeah, so we've always, not that we've always, but we started just like really talking about everything, and like, and even that, like when I found that I was pregnant, like by that point I had already been like kind of like a stay-at-home wife, if that makes sense, or whatever the right word is. But I was like already there, so like there was already expectations, I guess, of like what like what he plans on coming home to, like a cooked meal or whatever, things like that. So like having Joash, it was just like, okay, like now I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Like my duties don't really change in the sense like, oh, now I forget about Frankie. No, now it's just like I have Joash, and now I need to figure out how I'm gonna make that work. So I think it kind of has come naturally, kind of. But like you said, like we're always talking about it.
And we're very flexible in those roles. Yeah. So right, so like I hear her say that, and I know like me being who I am, the first thing that comes to mind is that old school role, right? Because like that there is an old school part of me that's like when I come home, like I love smelling food.
Talk about it, brother. Listen.
I love it. Like that's like love language right there. That's like
let them know.
I come home, it's like, wow, she loves me. Like yeah, that's just how
I'm working on it.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm like, but that to me, like somehow, some way communicates to me like, wow, she really loves me. Like I love this, right? So it's like, and it comes across as old school, but we were very flexible in that role. So like there was a time where Michelle was the main breadwinner of the house, right? So roles were kind of reversed at that moment, where now I kind of figure, all right, she coming home, she's probably hungry, right? So now like I'm gonna fulfill that role.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's all about the communication and knowing that it's not going to come natural. 9 times out of 10, it is not going to come natural. Like you got to work at it every day, willingly, intentionally. Like marriages work. It's not going to be like, you may have some phases where it just feels like you're in a groove naturally, but for the most part, you get the fruit of what you put into it.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant when I said like naturally kind of came. Because yeah, it was a lot of work that we put into, that we continue to put into.
Yeah, because we were not satisfied with the misery. We were not satisfied with the miserable nights or the arguments, or like that. What she mentioned, that if we took a multiple choice test, right? No matter what the question was, no matter what the problem was, divorce was never in the multiple choice.
Yeah.
So when you remove that option, like you gotta figure it out, because and then the other choice there for multiple choice is misery.
Yeah.
Why do you want to be miserable?
Yeah.
Like, you want to be miserable, right? So you gotta attack the other options and figure it out.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Read that whole removing divorce as even an option. And a lot of people get stuck because they have that on their multiple choice, and they're like, oh, we've been through this. We tried that. That didn't work. Well, I guess the last option is divorce, but if you take that out of the equation, you'll put another possibility in there. You'll put another option in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that like you keep emphasizing that it is work.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. And you're
work.
flexible because like you said, the roles were reversed. And it's not like you guys were stuck in your set roles. No, you guys had to change and adjust to your own lives, which is beautiful because that happens more than not, with marriages. Somebody's at this level and then that changes. And it's like, what do we do from here? So,
yeah. This has been great conversation.
Dropping jewels, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah. My takeaway from this is going to be the home cooked meals when I come home. I'm
still working. Okay.
I'm just joking. I
had a visual as I said that. Like I legit, all the bells and alerts start going off because I have a visual as I'm saying that of like this hot plate of food. I'm like,
I'm gonna have to reach out to Michelle later.
It goes a long way. Yes,
get some recipes.
You guys
connect.
Because this is all like fictitious. Because I'm not a good cook, so I cook the same things every day, every other day.
Thank you.
She's come a long way.
He's the chef. Frankie is a good cook.
You've come a long way.
I mean, I've come a long way,
yeah.
but I don't have all the recipes.
It's a process.
I make like 3 good meals and that's it. And I today's this and then maybe tomorrow again.
Like this time we'll add noodles in it. This time we'll do spaghetti with it. This time.
Today it's a burrito. Tomorrow
yes.
Right.
I got 3 good meals, Frankie. 3.
No, she can throw down. She doesn't necessarily like to.
Yeah, I know we're getting off topic now, but I do not. Well, we're talking about roles and like responsibility.
Yeah.
I do not like going to the grocery store. That does not bring me joy. Cooking food does not. I like to eat. We could go out.
Yeah, that we do. But I mean, that's we can't keep doing that. So.
But I try.
You do. And when she does, like I said, it's good. It's really good. So. But that's kind of my love language.
Big thing right there. That's a big thing to identify that and know that, because and then now, like from the husband side of that, now we know that and we're like, well, how can I help that area? And obviously, you still want your needs met, right? And but like, how do I help that? Like, so like that was big, and when we would like divvy up the roles, so like.
Oh, like I love grocery shopping. Oh my God, I will grocery shop for you whenever. I love it. I don't know why, I just do.
And I'm okay with it too, but I do it my way.
Yeah.
My way
is
not
allowed to go grocery shopping.
I gotta go quick, and whatever goes in the cart, that's it.
That's it. If it don't make it, I'll see you next time.
I come home with a receipt that says $150 for like 5 items.
I'm like,
and
what
she's
you
like,
do? You can't go shopping. So
no, you can't go no more. And I'm like,
yeah.
But I like to go grocery shopping, and he loves to cook. Or he doesn't love to cook, but because he loves to eat, he likes to cook. So I don't like cooking.
I don't like doing dishes.
I don't like to be in the kitchen. I had to learn because of Joash. Nothing brings me joy of that.
No, not at all.
We adjust, right?
And the grocery store thing is like, I'm in there and I'm getting stuff and I'm like, what am I gonna cook? What am I gonna buy? Oh boy, stuff costs money. So I'm just like putting stuff in a cart, and then I get home and I don't have everything. Or somebody
sometimes she'll go to the grocery store, come back with a whole bunch of food and be like, you want to order something? Like you just went to grocery shop.
Because and then the kid, we have 5. They're not all here now, but it's nothing worse than thinking that you're gonna cook something and you already have something in the house, and you buy certain things for that thing, and you get home and somebody already cooked it or ate it.
Right.
That just throws me all off.
Yeah.
What we ordering?
What are we ordering? Yeah.
Hey, can we ask you something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Being that you mentioned you have 5 children, I don't know if you know, but we're also expecting our second.
What?
Yeah. OGs like yourselves, right?
Yeah.
What advice or just what kind of like what wisdom would you share regarding what that season was like for the second child coming in and joining the family? Maybe some like pitfalls to watch out for, some things to be expecting and expecting for,
I could definitely say I think I didn't feel like in the beginning, I didn't feel like I had enough love for another baby. Like I really loved my first. I was just like, oh my gosh, you're my baby. Like I used to sit in the bed with her and be crying.
Don't let your other children hear this, right? They
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
hear.
No, we got the door closed. Door closed, you know.
But I was, when I had her, I was really, really surprised just how much love and room I had for them.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. I remember that was a really big thing for me because I was just like, how am I gonna love anybody? But I would say as far as like kids are concerned, definitely enjoy the time as they're younger. Really try to, you know, and it sounds like you're doing that now.
Yeah.
Enjoy the time and be intentional about that. But also as they get older, they're all different.
Yeah.
And it's important to identify their differences and to handle them different. Get that book, A Birth Order, because he really talks a lot about that. And then he has another one called Have a New Kid by Friday and Have a New Teenager by Friday and all the kind of stuff. But
I would say, well, just to go back from like the earlier stages, you know, once your second child is born, definitely, you know, with your son, you want to have him have a sense of like responsibility to take care of his younger sibling. But I would say don't, you know, allow him to still be a kid. You know what I mean? And not get into the space where you're just like, oh, we got a free babysitter for like a good 12 years or so. You know what I mean? But kind of balance it out where he still gets to be a kid and, you know, and still have a balance of that being responsible for his sibling. The second thing I would say is, like my wife said, you guys are doing an awesome job, and I see it, I hear about it, and all the stories, and he's definitely a happy baby. And I would just say, you know, you would like to see the best, you know, your kids grow up perfect and be perfect, but I would say just don't set your own expectations on your children, and just love them. You know, and just continue to plant seeds in their lives and to grow them and, you know, really just build them up. But, you know, just love them and don't be upset if they didn't turn out to be a doctor or they didn't turn out to be, you know what I mean? Those types of things.
Pressure.
And the pressure, and just love them, you know?
And make sure that you guys are first.
Yeah.
And the kids, because what we always remember, because we're blended, so we have a blended family, what we always remember during the chaotic times is that they're going to leave us. Like really, like they, and especially as they start getting like their own personalities, they start getting older and they start thinking for themselves, and they are going to do what they want to do.
Right. And think of it this way, you don't want to be in a situation where they live 7 minutes away from you. And I mean, think about it, right? You know how that situation plays out, so you don't want to repeat that for your kids.
Right.
So
y'all will be fine.
Yeah. You guys, I mean, y'all are awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm excited for you guys.
We're excited.
Yeah. We can't wait. We can't wait. So. We're not having another one, so stop.
We're done.
We're not.
we're happy for you.
Right.
Cool.
So the last thing I guess we would ask you guys before we kind of close this out, do you have any advice for those couples who are coming behind you?
You want to go first?
No.
No.
Communication is key. That's so corny, right? We hear that so much, but it really is. And communicate. Sometimes, most times, over communicate. Just because not communicating enough is so detrimental to your marriage. And yeah, you have to be on the same page. You can't just think, oh yeah, Frankie understands what I'm feeling. No, he does not. If you didn't say it, like, he does not know what is happening. So like, communicate. Yeah, totally communicate. Be open. Don't like fake the funk in your communication. Like, be 100% transparent. Like, this is the person that you decided to like build your life with.
Yeah.
They should be able to handle how you feel at any time that you're feeling it, even if maybe they don't like it, they don't agree with, the way you feel, but at least you communicate it. So I would say communicate and work hard, because it's hard work. Listen to other couples. Get help. Have community. Don't be afraid. Your problems are not the only problems that you're having. Like, other people have gone through it already. Other people have moved forward from it. Like, you're not stuck. You're not alone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just heard something the other day that explains why we run into some of these challenges, right? And it took it back to Genesis, right? And they said, like, when God took Adam and he removed his rib to form the woman, apparently he took the rib that would allow us to understand anything about women.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like,
I think he did.
we really are so different in our thinking.
Yeah.
Like, even at its basic core, even aside from whether I'm the oldest, the baby, like, just being a man and a woman, we think so differently.
Yeah.
And that's why so many guys, when they talk to each other about wives' stories, you catch a bunch of them saying, like, yeah, like, I don't understand. Like, and then women do the same thing, because we really do think differently. So we have to respect that, right? Respect that, know that, and understand that because of that, you have to work that much harder to make sure that you're on the same page. Don't ever take it for granted that you're on the same page. You need to really be intentional about check-ins and say, like, hey, it's like, we're on the same page, right? Like, literally write it out, map it out. This is what we're agreeing to, or you know what I mean? And just be willing to adjust, you know what I mean? Yeah. It really doesn't get more. It's a complicated thing, but really, if all you do is work on communication,
Yeah,
and keeping God center, obviously, like, because again, that guards you from immorality, that guards you from unfaithfulness, that guards you from choosing bitterness, that guards you from a lot of things that ruins marriages, right? So if God is the center of that matrimony, that unity, right? And you hold yourself accountable to God. And if the only thing you do is work on communication, right, you should be okay.
yeah,
You should be okay.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, you said some points that we are like big advocates for. So definitely we're all on the same page, and we really appreciate you guys for what you brought to the table today. And I knew it was going to be like really, really dope, but you guys have even surprised me even more. So definitely appreciate you guys. Do you want to say anything?
No, I appreciate you guys coming on. We're definitely going to have you back for something else.
Yeah.
Because it was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
And I know that it's like, even conversations like this between us is needed for other people to see, so they can build upon it and grow, in their marriages and in their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. So say hello to mom and dad for us, Michelle.
For 1 hour.
For 1 hour though, not.
We can't let them see this episode either.
Our parents.
Yeah. Like, we knew it. We knew he was telling you not to come visit. But they know I love them. I love them because they really did a great job in raising her. So they know I love them.
Yeah. I mean, you married her, so they did something right? Exactly. But thank you guys so much. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.